All right, and you guys have a lot of questions about the University of Michigan, and we're following your clicks and curiosity, and it looks like you guys want to know about the school changing its grade policy and what to know about education reform in the United States. So let's break it down. We've got Bethany Braun-Silva up first, then Jeannie Allen. Y'all, thank you so much for being here on this Friday. Let's start with the University of Michigan ditching its letter grading system for the first semester students with a new pilot program. Our Bethany Braun-Silva is with us following this. Bethany, appreciate you being here. This new policy program does not apply to every student or college at the university. So what is the school actually saying about this?
Hey, Ashen. Yes, this is a pilot program specifically for incoming first-year students in the University of Michigan's College of Literature, Science, and the Arts beginning in 2027. That college enrolls about 3,500 first-year students across more than 80 majors. And for their first semester only, those students will see either a pass or no credit on their official transcripts instead of traditional letter grades. And importantly, this does not apply to freshmen in Michigan's other 18 colleges, and that includes its business and engineering schools.
Bethany, I'm sure these eager incoming freshmen are wondering, how does this impact the GPAs and how they're weighted?
Yeah, so professors will still assign traditional letter grades, so students will know how they performed in each class, but those grades will essentially be covered on the official transcript. Instead, students will receive a pass or no credit, and those first semester grades will not be calculated into their cumulative GPA. So the idea isn't to eliminate academic feedback or expectations, but it's to give students one semester to adjust to college level work without every grade having a lasting impact on their GPA.
I see. So the university actually spoken about this. The College of Literature, Science, and Arts says that this would, quote, foster an environment where college students can acclimate to the demands of a University of Michigan education and pursue new academic challenges. What are medical professionals saying about the link between mental health and seeking higher education?
Yeah, we know that the transition to college can come with significant stress. Students might be living away from home for the first time, balancing jobs and dealing with academics, financial, social, family pressures, all of that, while adjusting to a much more demanding academic environment. We talked to Derek Peterson, a professor of history and African studies and the former chair of the university's faculty senate. He told ABC News that mental health is a real concern for undergraduates, that first-year students can be particularly vulnerable during this period of transition. So the thinking behind this program is that it will take some of the pressure off grades, and it could give students room to adjust. It could even try those challenging courses and even struggle academically without feeling like one difficult semester will permanently follow them.
Right. And Bethany, this program isn't like totally new, right? What other colleges and universities have actually tried something like this before?
Yes, Michigan is actually not the first college. Schools like Caltech, MIT, Swarthmore College, and Wellesley College have implemented versions of grade covering or that pass no record policies for first-year students. The details do vary by school, but the broader philosophy is similar, and that's to give new college students some time to adjust academically before traditional grades begin carrying their full weight.
Totally makes sense. Bethany, appreciate you joining us. Let's bring in founder and CEO of the Center for Education Reform and the author of The Education Avengers, Jeannie Allen. Jeannie, thank you so much for being here. Jeannie, so what do grades actually measure, especially in today's digital age? Is this the most accurate measure of a student actually retaining information?
Thanks much, Sean. You know, we know that grades historically are supposed to tell us whether or not a student has learned the material. Have they mastered it? And there's a couple of questions here. I'm perfectly willing to say that if grades are not the best indication anymore because of grade inflation, because everyone's different in grading, that maybe there's a different way to do it. But I'm not really willing to throw out the baby with the bathwater. If students learn, they need to be assessed. If you're assessed, you need to know whether you're learning. And so for me, the question isn't how do we help students cope with the increasing pressures of life, of this day and age, of mental illness. The question is, how do you make sure they learn and learn well? You know, mastery is something that we've adopted in lots and lots of schools, K through 12. Right now, we could say, hey, maybe they don't move on to the next chapter or the next subject area until they demonstrate that they have mastered, let's think Plato or something in the science, arts, and literature area. It seems to me that instead of masking it, and again, they'll see the grades internally, they should be still held to a challenge.
Right. So, Jeannie, so then how do you react to a school like Michigan making a program adjustment like this one?
Well, the first thing I'm going to say is that most parents that are sending their kids to college because they want a very intensive experience for them to be able to experience the pressures later on in life are going to question it. I mean, Michigan has had an incredible reputation, as are a lot of the other schools that were just mentioned. But there are schools out there waiting to actually teach students and make sure they learn before they move on to the next grade and before they graduate. Let's also remember that pressure is the way that you build resilience, right? You don't build resilience without some adversity, without some challenges. So what they could be doing is making sure that we're doing study habits. I mean, UC California unfortunately has a huge problem with remedial education. Instead of lowering the bar, they should be increasing their standards. And so the response to, are we having an issue, or how do we make it easier for students to cope and eventually be successful, isn't to lower it. It's to find ways to pad the experience so they learn just as much, feel good about learning because they did learn something, not because they got a trophy, and build resilience, which they need for our day and age.
Right, Jeannie, I want to talk to you a little bit about the work that you're doing at the mission, the Center for Education Reform, because I understand that the mission is to expand educational opportunities that lead to improved economic outcomes for all Americans. So what do you see as the biggest disparities in higher education specifically right now?
Well, the biggest disparities we see in higher ed, from that's kind of coming out of the mission we've been doing for 30 some odd years, is that when you don't provide students a clear pathway to what it is we expect them to know and be able to do at every level, whether you're in fourth grade or your second year of college, they have ambivalence. They're very confused about what's expected of them. We want people to understand that learning is actually really great. The way we get kids to flourish, the way we create productive societies, is we have the opportunity to debate. What do you debate? You have to debate issues. How do you debate issues if you don't have lots and lots of information at your disposal? So it's not just how you learn, it's what you learn, and it's whether you're given an environment that someone holds you up to a high standard and says, hey, you didn't make it this time, don't worry about it. You didn't get the A, let's do it again and make sure that you master the material. It shouldn't be about grades. What we know is it should be about, did the student become competent? That's what education reform at the heart of it really should be about.
Most definitely. Jeannie Allen, thank you so much for joining us.